Awesome. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited today about today's conversation. So it's my pleasure to introduce a long-term friend, a colleague, a TEDx speaker, CEO of Parley Pro and industry leader, Olga Mack. Welcome, Olga.
Thank you. It's good to be here with you. I'm so looking forward to catching up.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time. And for today's conversation, I want to focus on two things, right? So the first part is really going through your journey, your accomplishments, just kind of learning about that. And the second part is thinking about how women can rise to influential levels, right? So you've been such a strong advocate for women's rights, and it's so important for women to be in the position that enables them to make decisions. So I want to really hear your perspective on how women can, women in tech in particular, can evolve to become, to get to that position. So why don't you go ahead and talk about your journey, from where this all started, how did you emerge into where you are today, and just kind of walk us through your career path.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a highlight. Today, I'm building the future of law. I'm leading a legal tech company called Parley Pro. And what we are is we are a contract lifecycle management platform, and we help business professionals to have a relationship with a contract that is appropriate to their function and that is appropriate to the stage of the contract. So we cover all the stages from request to generation to negotiation to signature to post-signature management. And at those stages, you have different needs. Before that, I have been a tech lawyer. I went to law school after I immigrated to the United States when I was 12. I immigrated to Silicon Valley and saw the impact of technology on my life, on myself, on my community. Really wanted to be part of it in a non-technical role. I have a very strong sense of sort of justice and what is the right thing to do. And I saw that part was kind of lagging behind in technology. So I went to law school with a very clear vision of becoming a tech lawyer, and I spent doing it for about 15 years. I started in the big law, then I went to a Fortune 500 company where I managed the legal side of the global business there. And then I ran away with a circus called startups and had an opportunity to do all kinds of wild, exciting things. I tried to take one company public as a number 2 lawyer. I was a number 1 lawyer general counsel at a company that was sold. And then I also have been a VP of strategy at a blockchain company where I had an opportunity to explain this really exciting technology, crypto, blockchain, smart contracts to regulators and legislators. I've been to, Capitol Hill in Washington and Sacramento explaining this technology. I've also helped various regulators to truly understand it and regulate it appropriately. And so that has been my journey. It's been a journey of somebody who really loves technology and who thinks of herself as technologist first, who really has a really strong sense of justice, and who've transitioned from, tech lawyer by design to somebody who is building the future of law.
That's awesome. And that kind of leads to my second question. So you have a background in law. Why specific focus on technology? I know technology is really important, but there's so many lawyers who don't think like you. But what kind of struck in your mind at that point of time when you were going to emerge into this tech/legal leader today?
As an immigrant, you really feel the power of law in every turn. I did not speak English when I immigrated to the United States. And I had the fortunate/misfortunate job of reading many contracts and navigating many legal events, from immigration to employment to phone provider agreements in front of my parents. And I always thought that laws are very important and powerful, and as an immigrant in a new country, you are trying to align yourself with that energy. I think that was kind of the first inclination. The second inclination was, my parents are engineers. I had more science and math than most lawyers I know. I did not pursue it in college, but I was very qualified to pursue that when I got into college. So there is always sort of an interest in STEM. Let's just leave it at that. And I'm actually, I was better at STEM before I was good at English. So and I really enjoyed it. But what I also noticed is that there is a relationship between laws and regulations and STEM and technology, and that sometimes what is the right thing to do, what is a just thing to do, what is a good outcome is lagging behind by number of years, by decades. And one of the things I saw, when I immigrated, and it was sort of the rise of the second web, what we now know as Web 2.0, I saw very big need for privacy and security. And I knew this will be a big thing, and I focused on that, and I saw it become a big thing in my career, and I've been able to rise with it. And so I was asking myself, what is the area of law that really interests me? Where can I learn, contribute, and actually build, and be an active participant, as opposed to sort of looking back what has been done for thousands of years and do more of that? I wanted to be in the area of law where I'm the builder, where I have we're all learning together. And so that was kind of the important push toward law, toward technology law at the time, specifically security and privacy. Over time, it evolved into sort of more disruptive technologies. So I've been in SaaS before it was cool. I've been in data before it was cool. I've been in AI, ML before it was cool. And yes, I've been in blockchain crypto before it was cool. And I really have the strong belief that you should highly consider joining industries that are developing, because one, it's really kind of allows you to be a beginner with everybody else, where nobody really has an advantage of being there for a long time. And two, which is to me even more satisfying, it allows you build the world as opposed to inherit one and kind of mitigate the damage. And I really like that. I'm a very proactive person who likes to sort of build my future, and that philosophy has helped me navigate my aspirations.
That's awesome. I really love the statement that you said, right? Like build rather than inherit. I'll remember that. So technology is everywhere, right? So it's like we can't escape that. So in order to be in the forefront, companies are innovating on technology, creating ways to embrace disruptive technology. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how technology plays a key role in the legal domain. So what specifically I want to know is, what's the future and impact for legal tech?
Yeah, legal tech is very interesting. We have seen, if you look at the company organization tech stack, I think you can safely say that other parts of the companies have been crossing the digital transformation bridge much longer, right? If you worked with your lawyers for the last 5-10 years and you reflected for a moment, you probably realize that whether you are in IT, marketing, sales, or HR, or anything else, or customer success, chances are you have a more mature technology stack. Chances are it's more transparent. Chances are it's easier to navigate. Chances are it's less manual, and chances are you kind of have a really good sense of where it's going. Law, by and large, some departments are more evolved than others, have been, pretty manual. There have been sort of e-discovery tools for now for a while, but beyond that, it's still largely emails and Word document and, showing up in person and negotiating. So that's largely what has been, and I've been doing this for 15 years, even as a tech lawyer who helped others to transform. This has been largely changing. It started before COVID. It really snowballed during COVID because, frankly, there is sort of less tolerance and ability to do this, antiquated practices. And there is a lot of pressure to embrace the digital transformation, to create transparencies, efficiencies, and really be of service to everyone. And so we see a lot of innovation in this field specifically. And we see a lot of talent, legal or otherwise, flooding into the space and automating, adding value, connecting to other parts of the company. And it's been super exciting. And I as somebody who loves both law and technology, I feel very blessed and privileged to live in a time where this is happening and it's part of my life. And I get a chance to build it. I get a chance to shape the future of law. And I think it's a very powerful place to be.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thanks for that, Olga. That kind of brings me to the part 2 of this conversation. So part 1 was, we heard of your journey. We talked about the legal tech space briefly. Part 2 is something that I'm very interested to hear and passionate about. So I want to understand from your perspective, how can women rise to the position where they're able to make decisions? So what I'm thinking is, in particular, becoming a member of a corporate board, right? So I have a few questions on this topic. So the first one is, I'm sure a lot of women can relate to this. At what stage of the career can a woman consider this option? Is it X number of years of experience, or can they start very early on preparing for this role? So tell us about how women can prepare into this position.
Yeah, that's such a great question. I say there is a board for everyone. And my philosophy is that board, just like any extracurricular activity, whether it is interviewing industry leaders, writing, speaking, board service, whatever it is, that should complement who you are and your trajectory, as opposed to something you do between retirement and death, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Historically, how we view board service. So in the board service world, you have a buffet of options, and they range from nonprofit to for-profit. And in for-profit world, there's a very big world out there, which is, yes, there's this Fortune 500 public companies that are kind of harder to get to, or at least you need certain experiences. And then there is other companies. There are private companies. There are startups. There are all kinds of advisory board members. The universe of opportunities in this thing called board service is large, and the reason people see sometimes as a very finite is because they are highly uneducated about their opportunity.
Right.
They see sort of the nonprofit and the Fortune 500, but what they're missing is this big pregnant belly
right,
of
exactly.
opportunities that are available, that you can birth and really enjoy, And so that's what I invite people to do, is to explore other companies and opportunities. And I invite people to think of their board career as something that complements their life first and their career second. It's an opportunity to advise and give back. It's an opportunity to make money and in various forms. It is also an opportunity to learn, to test drive the CEO that you may work with in the future, or to test drive another industry. How do you learn another industry when you have a full-time job? Your board service is an opportunity to really explore either related or unrelated industry. So it just kind of depends. Board service is a tool in your toolbox, and educating yourself about the lay of the land is very important. And yes, there is a board for everyone, should you want to allocate time and pursue this way. It is also, I think, fair to say that if this is not your cup of tea, there are other ways to make more money, to learn, to grow as a person, or give back. But I think a lot of it starts from education and understanding what's available, and then making choices that are consistent with your life and your career.
So another following question I have is, how would we do that? Let's say a person is interested, right? So they're very sure that they want to serve not just necessarily becoming a board member, but other ways, as you said, right? So you could be like a creative person for whatever work the board does and things like that. What are the resources, right? So we have LinkedIn, where if, for example, a person wants to find a job, they can go on LinkedIn or other career sites to look for that. Are there particular resources that you would recommend for the audience here where they can go hunt for these opportunities and then be able to pursue one?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I do think that the search should start with you. You need to be able to answer why.
Okay.
Why you want to do it, what's in it for you, what will make you get up in the morning and do it.
Okay.
Just like with a job, just like with anything, just like being a parent, why
Yeah.
do you want it? And that's a simple question, but sometimes people really struggle with that question. Many people struggle. That's actually sometimes is the most difficult question. When you understand why, you'll be able to really articulate what is known as your value proposition or your superpower. What are you bringing to the table that nobody else does?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you know what you want to get out, what you're going to put in. Then you have to, depending on formality of the board, you may have to prepare right paperwork, like the board buy and all that. And then depending on how formal of an opportunity and how Fortune 500 / public company it will be. Maybe you don't even need to. Yes, LinkedIn is the next place to go. Your networking, that has been a prime place to network. You need to be very clear about, for your particular opportunity, who is the primary target. Is it the CEO? Is it other members of the board? Other executive leaders? You need to be very clear what it is you're looking for. LinkedIn, I think, is a fantastic place to do it. The more kind of formal, the more public company it is, the more likely you're going to have paperwork. Yes, there are recruiters who help with that. Yes, there are some private sector. I don't necessarily want to name any one of them because I think it's one of those situations where buyers should be aware. You should research and decide whether it is for you. You absolutely do not need to have a recruiter or sign up for services if you are disciplined enough and educated enough to make the right choices. My recommendation is sometimes the easiest thing to do before you even consider hiring anyone or anything else, once you articulated your why and what you can give, is to actually find the person you want to become. Go on LinkedIn and find, Jane or Joe, right? That lives your life that you want. And see if you can, reverse engineer their life. See if you can see from their LinkedIn and their presence on the World Wide Web, what their activities are doing and what you can borrow to propel yourself forward. I guarantee you, if you go through this exercise with like 5-7 people, you will be very well educated. You may not even need to talk to them. And if, yes, you can approach them and ask them for mentorship and help and ask a few questions too. But you can learn a lot by reverse engineering somebody's presence on internet.
Profile. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I had another question. I think you already answered that. How can someone groom themselves into becoming a mentor for this kind of an opportunity? But I think you kind of covered that. This was awesome. I think it's going to help so many people because I've got this question many times from the audience on how can I become a board member? What stage of my career journey should I prepare this? And I thought you would be the perfect person to answer this. And I would also recommend getting on board the book that you've written, right? So authored that book. So I would definitely recommend our audience to read the book and, explore all your thoughts and perspectives that you have presented in that book. Well, this kind of brings me to the end of this conversation, Olga. Thank you so much. This was amazing, as usual. Really appreciate your time in taking time to talk to us today. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me to be your guest. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Take care. Bye.
Bye.